latest reports of cyber attacks now involve RT.com. The network was on the list of websites that included the Russian government and Russia's Ministry of Defense. The hacktivist group Anonymous took credit for the attack, saying it was engaging in cyber warfare against Moscow in response to Russia's military action in Ukraine. RT's editor-in-chief confirmed the presence of a distributed denial of service attack, but said the network was able to repel the hit. So let's go further in depth on this with Morgan Wright. He's a cybersecurity expert and the chief security advisor at SentinelOne. Morgan, it's great to have you on the show today. Now, take us through this attack on the Russian government and RT websites. To the public, we just see that the website is down, but how dangerous is your standard DDoS attack?
It depends on what you're attacking. If you're attacking a website that's just a news site, information site, probably not. When you attack sites, whether it's in Russia or Ukraine or the United States, and Anonymous has attacked, everybody. They don't have a particular ideology. If it's mission critical information, if you have, for example, let's say we have an earthquake or a fire going on and somebody intentionally attacks a website and take it down, I mean, obviously there can be consequences about that. So you have to look at what kind of information has been putting out, the criticality of it, and is it part of the critical infrastructure? So those are the kind of things you look at and you weigh to determine in terms of what kind of sanctions or what kind of reaction do you have. Anonymous is going to do what they do because they've been doing it for years. But the actual, just the cybersecurity piece of it, just actually responding to stuff, if you're set up well, you can repel most denial of service attacks, in terms of the way you shape your network and some things that you do. So it's not particularly devastating unless I think it's issues that deal with life and health and safety.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that Anonymous has been around for a while now, and I know that they were quick to claim responsibility for this attack. Obviously, this is something that they specialize in, but how hard is it to carry out a hack like this one, and can it be avoided? Is there more that can be done than to just repel it when it happens?
You would have to be inside Anonymous, know what they're going to do before they do it. And that's it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're the Russian government, whether you're the Ukrainian government, whether, it doesn't matter. Unless you're on the inside and you know what they're going to do, everybody then is a potential target. Anonymous could have attacked Belarus. They could have attacked Ukraine. They could have attacked Sweden, for all that we know. But they do it because they're ideologically driven. They obviously have an issue with Russia invading Ukraine. They go, look, we don't like this. But hey, remember, they also attacked police department sites during the Ferguson riots. So they're going to attack who they're going to attack. Stopping the attack is one thing. We've gotten much better at stopping the denial of service attacks. But tracing them back and actually finding out who's behind it and assigning attribution to it, that's sometimes a challenge in cyberspace. If you have a distributed group by Anonymous, it's sometimes, believe it or not, it's actually easier when a country is behind it because there's tradecraft involved, there's prior intelligence. Nation states track other nation states and their intelligence services, so it becomes easier to have confidence that there's a certain actor behind it. But when you got Anonymous, they're probably distributed, throughout, the world.
Now, when it comes to a possible country being behind a cyber attack, this all comes after NBC News reported that President Biden was presented with options for massive cyber attacks against Russia that could even disrupt Russia's ability to sustain its military operations in Ukraine. Now, Press Secretary Jen Psaki immediately criticized the report, calling it off base. But how likely is it that those options were in fact presented to Biden this week?
He should actually have those options on the table. You never take anything off the table, and he would be looking at it to respond to what has Russia done. And I warned your folks before I came on. I have no sympathy for anything that happens to Russia at this point because I think it's wrong. That's a personal opinion. From a professional intelligence, opinion, you never take options off the table. I wouldn't assume that Vladimir Putin has taken any options off the table with regards to his military, because that's his prerogative. That's what he does. If the president has not been presented with cyber options, then that's malfeasance. That's a failure of leadership that absolutely should be on the table. And I'll tell you what, it's one of those things is those options should be so severe that it makes people think about two things. Number one, about attacking the United States, that you will pay a high price. And number two, it is a valid national security objective for the United States to look at disrupting lines of communication, lines of supplies on adversaries, just like it is for Russia to do it to anybody else.
Yeah, and it'll certainly be interesting to see what comes out of this conflict and if we see more and more reports of those cyber attacks. Morgan Wright, thank you so much for your time and insight today.